Hi, and welcome back to SeadragonSearch. Today we're going to go over how to report a sea dragon encounter, so you just need to have your sea dragon photo or batch of photos ready. And if you need help deciding which photos to submit, we have another video on that topic that you can check out on our website here, SeadragonSearch.org. Once you have your photos ready, you can navigate from here to wildbook.SeadragonSearch.org, which is our data submission site. Once you're there, click on Report an Encounter here or here. Don't worry about logging in. You don't need to do that to share data with us. You can just click on Report an Encounter, and you'll land on this page where you can drag or upload your photos for your encounter report. Now, something important to remember is that one encounter means one sea dragon from one dive. If you aren't sure whether you have photos of different sea dragons, you should create separate encounters for each photo you want to submit, or contact us and we will help to sort things out. So I am going to drag and drop my two photos. I have a left and a right of the same sea dragon into this gray box. Check that I have two files. They're the ones that I want. And then come down to enter some information about this particular sea dragon. Now, this sea dragon in my photographs was definitely alive, but reporting a dead sea dragon would be an option if, for example, you photographed a sea dragon that had washed up on the beach, which is also a useful location record for us. This one was alive. And the species, if we just take a glance here at my photos, this is a weedy or a common sea dragon, and I know that for sure. But if I wasn't sure, I could check unknown, or I could go to SeadragonSearch.org, our website, to learn more about distinguishing the different species of sea dragons. Now, the first really important piece of information for us to have about your photo is the date that it was taken. And I happen to know the exact date that my photos were taken on, so I can easily select that date using the calendar tool, just clicking in this box. First, I'm going to select the year, which was 2019. The month was September, and the day was the 10th. All right, but if I wasn't sure about the exact date, I could just fill in the month and year manually, like this, or even just the year, like this. One thing to note is that if you leave the date field blank, the system will use the metadata attached to your photo. However, it's common for dates on cameras to not always be set properly, so it's best to be proactive on this, check your dive logbook, and enter the date yourself. The other key piece of information for us to have is the location where your photo or photos were taken. And there are three ways provided to enter the location info, but the preferred way is using our drop-down menu of dive sites, which is located here. So I just need to look for the state and then the dive site name. For me, that is Victoria and Flinders Pier. Now, there's a blank box above the drop-down menu here where you can write in your own text if your location is not in the drop-down menu or if you want to clarify where you were. For a third option, again, if you want to supplement the drop-down menu locations, you can place a pen on this map and it will generate coordinates for the location. Those coordinates are kept private and are only used by researchers. But again, the best and preferred method is using the drop-down menu here. If you know what depth you were at in meters, you can enter that information here. If you don't know, it's fine to leave that blank. So now we want to ask for some information about the submitter and the photographer, which could be the same person or two different people. So I'm the one submitting these photos, and I'm going to enter my information under About You, but they were actually taken by my colleague Greg, so I'm going to credit him as the photographer. So I'll enter my name and my email, where I prefer to get these updates. And then my colleague, Greg, the photographer, and his email. And this is to attach a credit to the photo and the submission in our system, but it's important to note that photos are only used for research purposes. So we'll never publish anything on social media or in an article without asking for permission directly. We also don't use your email for mailing lists or anything like that. We just want to be able to send you updates about your Sea Dragon. However, you can always opt out of those updates by unsubscribing. All right, so these next fields are just there for you to add more information about yourself or your photo if you want to, but it's perfectly fine to leave this section blank. And then we can expand this advanced information section, and here you can add more specific information about your Sea Dragon if you have it. However, if you don't know, do not guess, just leave these sections blank. Now, for noticeable scarring, I did notice in this photo that my Sea Dragon here appears to have damage to its right lower appendage. So I am going to note that under noticeable scarring, and there are suggested words here that you can use if you need help figuring out how to word this. So I'm just going to say missing lower right flag. And then down here for the life stage, we can choose that this Sea Dragon is an adult because I am certain that it's an adult. If, for example, the Sea Dragon had eggs on its tail, we could say that it was a male with brood, or if we were really sure that it was a juvenile and not yet an adult, we could also check that. Okay. Now here you can add other email addresses if you want to, maybe dive buddies or other Sea Dragon lovers. And once you have done all of that, you're ready to confirm that you're not a robot. Let's look for just one chimney, it looks like there. Oh, maybe not. All right, let's try this one with bicycles. Okay, so now we can send our encounter report. After submitting your report, you will get a confirmation email with a link that leads to your encounter so that you can keep track of its progress through the system. And in just a minute here, we should get a success message that will also let us know that our submission went through. And here it is. All right, so we successfully shared our information, and there's a link down here at the bottom that will allow us to view our encounter. This is the same one that will be emailed to you. Here you can see all of the information that you entered along with your photos. Right now, this says encounter unassigned, but once a researcher processes this on the back end, then you'll know whether this is a new Sea Dragon to our system or whether it was actually matched to another Sea Dragon already in the system. And that is how to report an encounter to SeadragonSearch. Thank you so much for your interest in supporting our work. And remember to reach out to us anytime with questions through our email, admin@seadragonsearch.org.